So as I said, tolerance comes from a standpoint of feeling that, a feeling that you're better than the other person. So you have to be tolerant of their shortcomings. But, their shortcomings, their ignorance, their mistaken views. But Buddhism doesn't teach this. They may have mistaken views. They may be ignorant. But you may be as ignorant. You may be as mistaken. And to accept that first is the part that's important. We should not feel that we're any better, but that there is a difference. We need to feel that there's different people. We have different views, and that's okay. But we need to be able to and willing to listen to each other. Even if we could go beyond that level of conflict, with other people, there's an even greater contradiction within most people who advocate any given position. One of the things that has always bothered me is, why is it that people who are pro-choice, they tend to be anti-war and anti-death penalty? And at the same time, those people who are pro-life, they're likely to be pro-death penalty and pro-war. There seems to be a contradiction there on both sides. Right? There seems to be a contradiction there. There doesn't seem to be any consistency in either view. Why is it that we are accepting of people who have the same inconsistency as our own? Right? This is another level. Why is it that we're willing to accept people that have the same contradictions within themselves as we do? But at the same time, we ridicule, we make fun, we joke about people who don't have the same view. These are all issues of the temple community and not issues of the teachings. They're issues about ourselves, about each of us individually. But the biggest inconsistency is that, these biggest inconsistencies are within ourselves. And that being able to see those inconsistencies, having those inconsistencies, is what makes all of us the object of the teachings. Right? It's what makes us the object of the teachings. We're being shown that we are accepted even with these contradictions within ourselves. No matter how liberal we may think we are, how accepting are we of people with different views from our own? Can we be as accepting of someone who believes something completely different from our viewpoint, no matter how hateful or insipid they may seem to be? Do we like smart people? Or do we like stupid people? Or do we like people who are a little bit above average? Right? And most times people don't really care for really, really smart people. And you don't care for really, really insipid people. You like people who you consider a little bit above average because that's how you see yourself. Right? The truly important point here is not where we stand as a temple or even as individuals, but rather how deeply are those contradictions between the ideal and our own reality embedded within us. How deeply are they to be found? Where they're found on our deepest levels of our existence. We may hate people, those people who express hate in many forms. This is something that I remember from my sophomore English teacher. He said, "I hate bigots." But then that makes him a bigot, right? So if this is the case, if you hate bigots, do you end up hating yourself? Right? There is a level that we find that, what we find objectionable in the world isn't really in the world as much as it is within ourselves. That which really bothers us isn't out there as much as it is inside. And this is when the truth and reality of Amida's compassionate vow reveals itself to us. When you can really see yourself, not just intellectually, but see that there is that hate, there is that contradiction, there is that ignorance within us. When you can see it and admit it, then we see that this is the working of Amida's compassion, the light shining on our lives. This is what enables us to see it. I'm not saying you're all evil people or that I'm evil or anything like that, but there is that aspect deep down inside. In the social sense, you're all fine. You know, in the eyes of society, you're all fine. But when you're by yourself, or you're thinking deeply and reflecting, you see that, and you know that there's something else there. There's something else there that isn't as worthy of all the praise that you seem to get in everyday life. And this should make you feel uncomfortable. But what makes you feel uncomfortable is that working of the compassion of the people around you, trying to get us to see the reality of ourselves. And that's the part within us, which is of the utmost importance, and not that which we see around us. Right? And this is what makes our teaching important. These teachings of Amida Buddha, that compassion working on our lives, isn't really, a teaching of somebody else, but it's for each of us. And the more deeply you see within yourself, then the more grateful you become of the people and events in your life that make your life possible. When you can really see how rotten you might be to the people around you, and you become that much more appreciative of the fact that even though I'm this way, there's still people who care. And for that, we should really be grateful. This is the compassion of Amida at work. So, I'm as quick as usual. So, are there any questions today? Am I confused everybody, or everybody understood everything? Thank you very much.